Hey guys, what's up? This is Coach Justin with Reliably BJJ, and for today's video, I wanted to take a second to talk about something maybe more for those newer people or people who just started their jiu-jitsu journey, um, because there's a lot to take in when you first start. But I think this has some applicability to people who have been at it for a while as well. So something to consider is it's hard to get a bead exactly on how your progress is going sometimes. It can be disconcerting because jiu-jitsu does not have those real objective qualifications like I go to so many classes and I get a new belt, or I learn so many kata or technique and I get a new belt. And even if we're not talking about belts, even if we're just talking about progress, even that can kind of conceptually be mercurial, right, in terms of a functional measure. Because a lot of times it's the same people at the classes who you're rolling against consistently, but new people show up or people visit, or, different classes can have a mix of different people sometimes. And so it's not always consistent training partners that you're rolling against. And, it's harder to get a feel for exactly how good you're getting. It's also very, very difficult, I think, for us as human beings to be completely objective about ourselves and our own progress. A lot of times we're our own worst critics. Sometimes our ego drives us to think our abilities are higher than they actually are, and sometimes we're harder on ourselves than we should be. And so all of those things contribute to maybe just difficulty with recognizing your progress or feeling like you're getting better. We do have this external validation from our coach or our professor in terms of how we're doing, and that's the belt system. But even that's not real objective, and I've talked about that in other videos. So it can be a difficult one. And I think this is, conceptually, this is how it is for all things in life, right? It can be hard to know when you've started any new process or any new job or just a new venture of any kind. Like, am I doing okay? Am I winning? Am I making progress and headway here or not? So with jiu-jitsu specifically, I would tell new people to avoid what I think is a trap, and that we all get into the mindset of comparing ourselves to who we see as a cohort. So if we started and 3 or 4 other people started at the school around the same time, it's very, very easy then to see what's going on with them as far as how they're doing or how we're doing against them and rolling, and judge ourselves accordingly. But that's not really a great measure. It can be helpful in some ways, but maybe that person doesn't have as many life responsibilities. Maybe you're in your mid-30s and you have a family and a full-time job, and maybe they're in their late teens or early 20s and they don't have those responsibilities and they can train 7 days a week. And there can be a number of other factors that make the comparisons a little bit off. So that's can be helpful sometimes, but I would warn a lot of people that use that as their sole metric that can really, really be a trap, because you're not going to measure your lifelong jiu-jitsu journey just against that 1 or 2 or 3 other people's progress. You really want it's your journey, so you want to own that part of it. You want to get better for you. That's most likely the reason you started this. So comparing yourself to other people, it's a natural thing to do, but I would caution you to avoid that. Setting goals can definitely be helpful. I want to win this tournament, or I want to compete in this many tournaments this year, or I want to attend this many classes every week for this period, or I want to get my blue belt by such and such a date. All those are kind of worthy things, and they can help focus our training. And if we set those goals and we achieve them, I think that's a great methodology for measuring progress. So that can certainly be helpful. But ultimately, somebody said this to me once early on in my jiu-jitsu journey, and I think this has been a good way for me, at least, to break down, am I doing well? And that is, if you were to face yourself from 6 months ago in a match, how would you do? Who would win? The you now or the you then? And I think that's a great way of looking at it, because that's truly, we are trying to improve ourselves by studying this. If you're doing better than you 6 months ago, that's great. That's score one for the good guys. That's what we're after here. So try and ask yourself that question. The good and the bad thing about jujitsu is it does not lie to you. It lets you know exactly where you're at if you listen to it. So if you're out on the mat and you are just getting stuck in side mount every single day, time to work on your side mount escapes. If you are really trying to do an armbar setup and you're not getting it on people and live rolling, it needs more work. And that's great. It's good to have that feedback. It can be harsh. It can be pretty hard on our egos, but it's a good thing to know, and know the truth of it. So there are some aspects of could I fight myself from 6 months ago and win, that can be hard to deal with. So if you've had an injury or if you've been off the mat for some time, it might be that you from 6 months ago would win. Well, okay, then it's good to know that and to know that you can now improve. You have space and room to grow and get better. So it shouldn't be disheartening. Jiu-jitsu isn't in a lot of ways. It's kind of a punishing endeavor. It doesn't always give us constant validation that we're awesome or that we're going to win every time. Sometimes it's pretty stark in its letting us know that we're lacking in some aspect of our game, or we need better conditioning, or whatever it is. But that harshness or that punishing element of it, if you lean into that and you embrace that, there's so much that it gives you as far as self-improvement. So I think for all of you, for those of you who are new, for those of you who've been training for a while, try and apply that concept. Look at, rather than just, can I win this tournament? Can I get to this belt by this point? Am I doing as well as Sam and Joe and the other guys that started around the same time I did? Look at yourself, and try and get an honest appraisal in your head of how would I do against the version of me from 6 months ago. So I hope you guys find that concept helpful. It was certainly helpful to me coming up in the earlier ranks when I first started training jiu-jitsu. If you have any questions or anything you think that would be an interesting topic for discussion, please leave it down below in the comments. Leave a fist bump or a like, or if you subscribe to the channel, that would be truly appreciated. I appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.